Alright, in these notes today, we're going to be looking at how do I convert a quadratic from standard to vertex form. So first, let's look at the top. It says, what is standard form? What is the standard form of a quadratic? And the standard form of a quadratic function is represented by the equation f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, if you notice below it, it says what is the vertex form of a quadratic? And the vertex form of a quadratic function is represented by the equation f of x is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k, where hk is the vertex of the parabola. So keep in mind when we say vertex of the parabola, if we had a parabola that had been shifted over, the vertex is the minimum point or maximum point of a parabola, and its x value would be the line of symmetry that divides it in two. When it says what does h represent? H represents the horizontal, which means left to right, shift, which is how far the parabola has shifted left or right from the origin. What does k represent? It represents the vertical shift, which is how far the parabola has shifted up or down. So that's our up and down. Next it says when written in vertex form, what does the h and hk also represent? Well, it represents the line of symmetry. So I know we went over this plenty of times already, but I just want to make sure that you never forget it. So it's very easy for you to get it right on a STAR test. When it asks for the line of symmetry, the line of symmetry can be found by simply looking at the vertex and given its x value, which is the value at which it cuts this shape in two halves. Of course, I should have done a straighter line right there, but it's our line of symmetry. Now, let's go ahead and look at this process. It's going to be a little bit complicated, but it's definitely doable. So notice I have a question here. It says, how do I convert a quadratic from standard to vertex form? And notice I've broken this down in 3 steps for you. So let's take a look at step 1. So according to step 1, we're going to use the formula h is equal to negative b over 2a to solve for h in hk. So notice hk, that's just my ordered pair for my vertex. And let's go ahead and label these real quick, just as we normally do. If we're doing this process, we want to know which one's a, which one's b, which one's c. So I'm going to go ahead and write a underneath my 2. Negative 4 is my b. And 5 is my c. So just like if we were doing a quadratic formula, we would label these, and then we're going to use this formula. So I have over here, h is equal to negative b, so I'm just going to put parentheses instead of the b, and then it says over 2a. So I'm going to put that over 2 times a. I'm going to put parentheses for a. So now we just have to substitute our numbers in. So if I take my numbers, I'm going to go ahead and find my b, which is negative 4. And I'm going to find my a, which is 2. Now, I'm going to work this out kind of going to the side instead of going top to bottom. So do remember that you have a negative 1 out here that you have to distribute inside. So negative 1 times negative 4 gives me a positive 4. And positive 2 times positive 2 gives me a positive 4. Therefore, h is actually just 1. So I'm going to rewrite that real quick. I'm going to say, alright, h is equal to 1. I'm going to box it. So that was step 1. We're done with that. Now, step 2 is we're going to substitute the value of h. So that h that we just found, we're going to substitute it into your equation in place of your x, or whatever variable it uses to solve for k. For example, k is equal to f of h. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we're going to say k is going to be equal to 2, and I'm just actually rewriting what we have over here. But instead of putting an x, we're going to put the value of h in there. So 2 times x squared minus 4 times x and plus 5. So let's go ahead and take this value of h right here. This happens to be 1, which is an easy number to work with. And we're going to work this out, and that's going to tell us what k is. So if I go ahead and I I go ahead and multiply this out. Notice this is 1 squared. Well, 1 squared is just equal to 1. So this is actually equal to 2 times 1 after you square it. And then this is going to be negative 4 times 1, which is going to be minus 4. And then we have plus 5. And if we continue to work this out, right, this would just be 2 minus 4 plus 5. And notice I'm just going from left to right. 2 minus 4 is going to give me negative 2 plus 5. And if I work that out, that's going to give me a 3. So K is actually equal to 3. Now, some of you might be going, Mr. H, you didn't have to show us this simple math. We got this down. We can do this with a calculator. And you are correct, but I wanted to show you the process. So, right, 2 times 1 gave me 2. Brought down my negative 4, brought down my 5. Then I said negative 2 plus 5, and that gives me 3. So I just want to show you every step to make sure you understand that there's no magic going on. We're just doing simple math, simple arithmetic right here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at step 3, because we finished step 2. Now use H and K that you have solved for to write the equation in vertex form by inserting those values and your original A value into the equation. Well, original A value over here, we had 2. And then we have our H is equal to 1 and K is equal to 3. So we're going to substitute that back into this formula. So let me rewrite this formula, and then we're going to substitute it. So we have f of x is equal to A times x minus h squared plus k. So if I rewrote this, and we're going to substitute some values into it, my A, I'm going to substitute a value into there. So for my A, I have a 2. So instead of A, I'm going to write a 2. And then I'm going to go ahead, let me put this all in pink so it stands out. Then we have x minus our h value, and my h value was positive 1 squared, and then plus my k, which my k was 3. So now we have, if we look at this, we actually have our answer, which is basically is in vertex form. So let's box it real quick. So I'm going to write answer